Florence Scovel Shinn taught this. Say these words for 1 minute to unlock a financial breakthrough. There exists within you at this very moment a force so magnificent, so divinely powerful, that it can reshape your entire financial reality in ways that your logical mind cannot comprehend. This force is not hidden in some distant realm or reserved for the spiritually elite. It lives in the sacred chamber of your consciousness, waiting to be awakened through the ancient art that Florence Scovel Shinn called the power of the spoken word. Every syllable you utter carries within it the creative force of the universe itself, and when you align your words with divine truth, you become a conscious co-creator of your financial destiny. The moment you truly understand that your words are not merely sounds escaping your lips, but living vibrations that penetrate the very fabric of reality, your relationship with money will never be the same. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this profound truth when she declared, "Your word is your wand." Each word you speak about money, prosperity, and abundance either builds bridges to your financial breakthrough or constructs walls that keep it at bay. The tragic reality is that most people unknowingly use their words to perpetuate their financial limitations, repeating mantras of lack that echo through their subconscious mind like a broken record of scarcity. Consider for a moment the words you have spoken about money in the past week. Have you declared that money is hard to come by? Have you affirmed that you never have enough? Have you spoken of bills with dread and of opportunities with doubt? If so, you have been wielding your divine creative power in reverse, using the very tool that could liberate you to instead reinforce your financial prison. This is not judgment, but rather illumination, for only when you see clearly can you choose differently. The ancient wisdom teaches us that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. This is not merely poetic language, but a fundamental truth about the nature of creation itself. Your words are extensions of the same creative principle that spoke the universe into existence. When you speak words of financial abundance with conviction and faith, you set into motion invisible forces that begin immediately to rearrange circumstances in your favor. Florence Scovel Shinn witnessed countless demonstrations of this principle throughout her ministry. She observed how individuals who transformed their spoken declarations about money experienced radical shifts in their financial circumstances. These were not coincidences or lucky breaks, but rather the inevitable result of aligning one's words with spiritual law. The universe operates on precise principles, and one of the most fundamental is that your outer world must ultimately reflect your inner declarations. Your subconscious mind, that faithful servant of your conscious commands, accepts every word you speak as absolute truth. It does not debate or question. It simply receives your verbal instructions and works tirelessly to manifest them in physical form. When you consistently speak words of financial struggle, your subconscious interprets this as your desired reality and begins to create experiences that match these declarations. Conversely, when you speak words of financial abundance and prosperity, your subconscious immediately begins to seek ways to bring these declarations to pass. This is why the specific words you are about to learn carry such tremendous power. They are not mere positive thinking or wishful hoping, but rather precise vibrational tools that communicate directly with the creative intelligence of the universe. These words, when spoken with understanding and faith, create what Florence Scovel Shinn called the perfect outpicturing of divine abundance in your financial affairs. The key is not in the length of time you speak them, but in the depth of conviction with which you declare them and the consistency with which you align your consciousness to their truth. Money is not what you think it is. Behind every dollar bill, every coin, every digital transaction lies a spiritual reality that governs all financial manifestation. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that money is nothing more than crystallized spiritual energy, a physical symbol of the infinite abundance that flows through the universe at every moment. When you begin to perceive money through spiritual eyes rather than material ones, you unlock the secret to effortless prosperity that has been hidden in plain sight. The greatest lie ever told about money is that it is scarce. This deception has been woven so deeply into human consciousness that even the spiritually awakened often struggle to completely uproot it from their subconscious programming. Yet the truth is that the universe operates on a principle of infinite supply. There is no shortage in the divine economy, no lack in the spiritual realm, no poverty in the mind of God. The same intelligence that creates countless stars without effort can certainly create more than enough money to meet your every need and desire. Your relationship with money is actually a reflection of your relationship with your own divine nature. When you believe you are separate from Source, you naturally believe you are separate from abundance. When you recognize yourself as a beloved child of the universe, entitled to every good thing, you begin to magnetize financial prosperity as naturally as flowers magnetize sunlight. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that God is your supply, not because God is somehow external to you, but because you are an individualized expression of that same abundant source. The blocks to your financial breakthrough are not external circumstances, market conditions, or economic limitations. They are internal barriers built from years of false beliefs about your worthiness to receive abundance. These beliefs often masquerade as spiritual humility, with thoughts like, money isn't spiritual, or I shouldn't desire material things. Yet this is spiritual bypassing at its most subtle and destructive. The universe created material reality as a playground for spiritual expression, and money is simply one of the tools available for your creative use. Consider the vibrational signature you emit when you think about money. Do you contract with fear, expand with joy, or remain neutral with trust? Your vibrational state creates a magnetic field that either attracts or repels financial opportunities. This is not mystical theory, but practical metaphysics. Every emotion you feel about money sends out energetic signals that the universe receives and responds to with mathematical precision. When you vibrate at the frequency of lack, you receive experiences that match that vibration. When you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, you become a magnet for prosperous circumstances. The transformation begins when you realize that you are not trying to get money from an unwilling universe, but rather allowing money to flow to you from an infinitely generous source. This shift from effort to allowance, from pushing to receiving, from desperation to expectation, changes everything. Florence Scovel Shinn called this the law of non-resistance, teaching that what you resist persists, but what you accept with gratitude multiplies. Your financial breakthrough is not a future event that may or may not occur. It exists right now in the invisible realm, waiting for your recognition and acceptance. Every word you speak either moves you closer to or further from this already existing reality. This is why the specific words you will learn are so powerful. They are not attempts to create something new, but rather declarations of what already is in divine mind. They acknowledge the abundance that has been yours from the beginning of time, calling it forth from the invisible to the visible, from the potential to the actual. The money that is coming to you carries no burden of struggle or strain. It flows as naturally as water flows downstream, as effortlessly as your heart beats, as inevitably as dawn follows darkness. This is the natural order when human consciousness aligns with divine law. Resistance creates the illusion of scarcity. Alignment reveals the reality of abundance. Within the quantum field of infinite possibility, every thought carries a specific numerical vibration, and every word resonates at a distinct frequency that attracts corresponding experiences. Florence Scovel Shinn understood what modern quantum physics is only beginning to recognize. That consciousness is the fundamental creative force in the universe, and words are the vehicles through which consciousness shapes reality. When you speak the sacred words of financial abundance, you are literally tuning your personal vibration to match the frequency of prosperity that exists within the quantum field. Your financial situation is nothing more than a vibrational match to your most consistent thoughts and words about money. This is not opinion or theory, but spiritual law as precise as the law of gravity. If your bank account reflects lack, it is because your vibration has been consistently tuned to the frequency of scarcity. If your income feels limited, it is because your consciousness has been broadcasting limitation. The beautiful truth is that you can change your vibration in an instant, and when you do, your financial reality must begin to shift to match your new energetic signature. The words you are about to learn operate on what Florence Scovel Shinn called the law of correspondence. This universal principle states that your outer world must eventually mirror your inner world. Your circumstances must align with your consciousness, and your physical experience must reflect your spiritual understanding. When you speak words of financial abundance with complete conviction, you create an energetic template in the invisible realm that physical reality has no choice but to follow. But here lies the subtle yet crucial distinction that determines whether these words will work for you or not. You cannot speak words of abundance while holding vibrations of doubt. You cannot declare prosperity while feeling desperate. You cannot affirm wealth while believing in lack. The universe responds not to your words alone, but to the vibrational signature that accompanies those words. This is why some people seem to effortlessly manifest abundance, while others struggle despite their positive affirmations. The difference lies not in the words themselves, but in the depth of belief and the purity of vibration that supports those words. Florence Scovel Shinn witnessed countless demonstrations of this principle. She observed that those who experienced rapid financial breakthroughs were not necessarily those who spoke the most words, but those who spoke with the most faith. Faith, in this context, is not blind belief, but rather knowing recognition of spiritual truth. When you know that abundance is your birthright, when you recognize that prosperity is your natural state, when you understand that the universe is conspiring for your highest good, your words carry the creative power that can move mountains. Your subconscious mind is constantly monitoring the vibrational quality of your thoughts and words, and it responds accordingly. When it detects the genuine vibration of prosperity consciousness, it immediately begins to attract experiences, opportunities, and circumstances that match this new set point. This is why the timing of your financial breakthrough cannot be controlled by your ego mind, but it can be trusted to your spiritual understanding. The moment your vibration authentically aligns with abundance, the manifestation process has already begun. The sacred words you will speak for just 1 minute daily are designed to create what Florence Scovel Shinn called the perfect vibration. This vibration resonates so purely with divine truth that it cuts through years of negative programming like light dispelling darkness. These words carry within them the accumulated power of countless souls who have spoken them before you, creating a morphic field of manifestation that makes your financial breakthrough not just possible, but inevitable. Remember, you are not trying to convince the universe to give you money. You are remembering that you are the universe expressing itself as you, and abundance is the natural expression of your divine nature. This shift in understanding changes everything, transforming your financial journey from struggle to flow, from effort to ease, from hoping to knowing. The financial patterns you experience today are not random occurrences or products of mere circumstance. They are the culmination of generations of inherited beliefs about money, passed down through your family lineage like invisible DNA that programs your subconscious responses to prosperity and abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that to experience true financial breakthrough, one must not only transform their personal relationship with money, but also break free from the collective consciousness of lack that has been woven into human experience for centuries. Consider for a moment the money conversations that surrounded you in childhood. What did you learn about wealth from observing your parents, grandparents, and other influential figures in your early years? Perhaps you witnessed money being discussed with stress, fear, or resentment. Perhaps you absorbed the belief that money is the root of all evil, that wealth corrupts the soul, or that there is something noble about financial struggle. These early impressions created energetic imprints in your subconscious mind that continue to influence your financial experiences decades later. The ancestral programming around money often runs so deep that you may not even recognize it as programming at all. It feels like truth, like reality, like just the way things are. You might find yourself unconsciously sabotaging financial opportunities because some part of your psyche believes that prosperity would betray your family's values or separate you from your roots. This is the invisible chain that keeps so many souls bound to limitation, even when they consciously desire abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that every individual has the power to become what she called the redeemer of their family line. When you break free from inherited patterns of financial limitation, you not only liberate yourself, but also create new possibilities for future generations. Your transformation becomes a gift that ripples backward through time, healing ancestral wounds, and forward through time, blessing your descendants with a legacy of prosperity consciousness. The sacred words you are learning to speak carry the power to dissolve these invisible bonds that tie you to financial limitation. Each time you declare your divine right to abundance, you weaken the grip of ancestral programming. Each time you affirm your worthiness to receive prosperity, you challenge the false beliefs that have been transmitted through your family line. This is not betrayal of your heritage, but rather the highest honor you can pay to your ancestors, breaking the cycles that caused them suffering so that their sacrifices were not in vain. The process of breaking free from ancestral financial programming can initially create what Florence Scovel Shinn called chemicalization. This is the spiritual equivalent of a healing crisis, where old patterns surface to be released before new patterns can take hold. You might find yourself experiencing resistance from family members who unconsciously want to maintain the familiar dynamic of shared struggle. You might encounter your own internal resistance as part of your psyche attempts to stay loyal to the family pattern of limitation. Yet this temporary disruption is a sign that the sacred words are working, that the vibrational shift is occurring, that the chains of inherited limitation are beginning to break. The key is to continue speaking these words with unwavering faith, understanding that you are engaged in spiritual warfare against forces of limitation that have held your family line in bondage for generations. You are the chosen one, the breakthrough generation, the ancestor that future family members will thank for having the courage to think differently about money. Your financial breakthrough is not just about you. It is about liberating everyone in your lineage from the poverty consciousness that has kept abundance at bay. When you truly embrace your role as the redeemer of your family line, your commitment to speaking these sacred words takes on a depth and power that transforms not just your bank account, but your entire legacy. You become the point where limitation ends and prosperity begins, the place where the old story dies and the new story is born. The universe operates on a principle of circulation that mirrors the circulatory system of your physical body. Just as blood must flow freely through your arteries and veins to maintain life, money must flow freely through your financial arteries to maintain prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that those who experience consistent financial abundance understand and practice what she called the law of circulation, recognizing that money is not meant to be hoarded, but rather to flow like a river that nourishes everything in its path. The moment you begin to understand money as energy rather than as a limited resource, your entire relationship with financial abundance transforms. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one state to another. This means that the money you desire already exists in the quantum field. It is simply a matter of creating the conditions for it to flow into your experience. The sacred words you speak create these conditions by aligning your consciousness with the natural flow of universal abundance. One of the greatest barriers to financial breakthrough is the fear of not having enough, which paradoxically creates the very experience of lack that you fear. When you hold money tightly out of fear, you cut off its circulation and create stagnation in your financial system. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that what you give is given unto you, not as a moral imperative, but as a practical law of energy circulation. The more freely you allow money to flow through your experience, the more freely it flows to you. This does not mean giving recklessly or without wisdom, but rather developing what Shinn called spiritual sense about circulation. When you give from a consciousness of abundance, knowing that your supply is infinite, your giving creates a vacuum that the universe immediately fills. When you give from a consciousness of lack, believing that you have limited resources, your giving creates fear and constriction that actually repels abundance. The sacred words you are learning to speak help you develop the consciousness of one who knows their supply is unlimited. As you repeat these declarations, you begin to feel the truth that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply, that God is your source, not your job, not the economy, not other people, but the infinite creative intelligence that sustains all life. When you truly know this, you can be generous without anxiety, bold without recklessness, trusting without naivety. Your financial breakthrough requires you to think like someone who already has access to unlimited supply. This means making decisions from abundance rather than from lack, speaking words that assume prosperity rather than hope for it, taking actions that demonstrate faith rather than fear. The universe is constantly reading your energetic signature, your vibrational declaration of who you believe you are and what you believe you deserve. When your words, thoughts, and actions all align with the identity of someone who has unlimited access to divine supply, abundance becomes inevitable. The practice of speaking these sacred words for just 1 minute each day creates what Florence Scovel Shinn called the habit of prosperity consciousness. Like physical exercise that strengthens your muscles, this daily practice strengthens your abundance mindset until it becomes your natural way of being. You begin to automatically expect good things to happen, to naturally assume that money will come when needed, to instinctively trust in the divine provision that is always available. This shift in consciousness is what creates the actual breakthrough. It is not the words themselves that manifest the money, but rather the transformation in your identity that occurs as you consistently speak these words with faith and understanding. You evolve from someone who struggles with money to someone who flows with abundance, from someone who fears lack to someone who expects prosperity, from someone who feels separate from supply to someone who knows they are supply. You stand now at the threshold of a profound realization that will forever change your relationship with money and abundance. This moment, right here and right now, is pregnant with infinite possibility. The sacred words you are about to learn and speak are not merely affirmations or positive thinking exercises. They are vibrational keys that unlock what Florence Scovel Shinn called the secret place of the Most High within your consciousness, where your financial breakthrough has been waiting since the beginning of time. These words are, I am one with my limitless supply. Infinite abundance flows to me now in perfect ways. I accept my divine inheritance of prosperity with gratitude and joy. Speak these words for 1 minute each morning, but speak them as if your life depends upon their truth. Because in many ways, the quality of your life does depend upon your recognition of their reality. The power of these words lies not in their repetition, but in their recognition. When you truly understand what you are declaring, when you feel the truth of your oneness with limitless supply resonating in every cell of your being, when you accept with complete certainty that infinite abundance is your divine inheritance, you create what Florence Scovel Shinn called the moment of perfect recognition. In this moment, the invisible becomes visible, the potential becomes actual, and your financial breakthrough manifests as surely as sunrise follows dawn. But understand this. These words will only work to the degree that you become the person who naturally speaks such truth. You cannot fake the vibration of abundance consciousness. You cannot pretend your way into prosperity. You must genuinely embody the identity of someone who knows their supply is unlimited, who trusts completely in divine provision, who expects abundance as naturally as they expect their heart to beat. This embodiment happens gradually as you consistently align your thoughts, words, and actions with the truth of your divine nature. Florence Scovel Shinn observed that financial breakthroughs often happen suddenly after what appears to be a long period of preparation. Like a seed that remains invisible underground while developing its root system, your prosperity consciousness develops in the invisible realm of your mind and heart before manifesting in your physical experience. The daily practice of speaking these sacred words waters this seed of abundance, nourishes its growth, and creates the conditions for its inevitable flowering. Your financial breakthrough may come through an unexpected opportunity, a sudden inspiration for a new income stream, the resolution of a long-standing financial challenge, or in ways that you cannot currently imagine. The how is not your concern. That is the universe's domain. Your responsibility is to maintain the consciousness of abundance, to speak these words with unwavering faith, and to remain open to receive your good in whatever form it chooses to appear. Remember that your word is your wand, your consciousness is your creative power, and your recognition of divine truth is your key to unlimited abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn spent her life demonstrating these principles, proving again and again that when human consciousness aligns with divine law, miracles become natural occurrences. Your financial breakthrough is not a miracle. It is simply the natural result of spiritual law properly applied. As you begin this practice, know that you join the ranks of countless souls who have discovered the secret of speaking themselves into prosperity. These sacred words carry the accumulated power of all who have spoken them before you, and they will carry your vibration to all who speak them after you. You are part of an invisible network of abundance consciousness that spans time and space, connecting all who understand the true nature of prosperity. Speak these words with reverence, with gratitude, with absolute certainty in their truth. Let them become the anthem of your transformed consciousness, the declaration of your divine identity, the key that unlocks your infinite inheritance. Your financial breakthrough begins the moment you truly recognize that you and your supply are one, that abundance is not separate from you, but is the very essence of your divine nature. The moment of perfect recognition is here. Your time is now.